San Diego is home to one of the biggest Earth Day events in the country. Now, in its 43rd year, Earth Day not only pays homage to Mother Nature, it's become a reminder to check in on San Diego's current environmental state. Joining me with further details are Scott Anders, Director of USD's Energy Policy Initiative Center, and Lonnie Lutar, Executive Director of the Equinox Center. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lonnie, this year's Equinox dashboard report looked at everything from air quality, water quality, energy. Let's start with the air quality. What is our breathing situation here like?
Well, air quality, we have some good news. The number of unhealthy air days for the San Diego County region went down from 19 to 13 relative to the prior year that we looked at. Now, our data is a little bit behind schedule. It's lagged because of when the information becomes available, but that's good news. Now, that said, we still have a long way to go. When you compare 13 in San Diego to San Francisco only had one day, it shows that we still can do a lot to improve our air quality, which of course impacts the health of all of us and also has an impact on productivity for workers.
So those numbers that went down from 19 poor quality days to 13. So
yeah.
a little bit of an improvement there.
Absolutely.
Now, Scott, speaking of air quality, this was an interesting fact. Collectively in our county, we drive about 28 billion miles a year. That's what the B you said. And that's enough to get back to the sun, back and forth, right? Like 150 times?
That's correct.
That's crazy. That seems enormous. What is that doing to our greenhouse emissions? Where do we stand there?
Well, with 30 billion miles traveled in one year, it's no surprise that the transportation sector, cars and trucks, emit the most greenhouse gases of any other sector, about 45%. The next category is electricity, and then after that, natural gas. So we like to say that cars and trucks and buildings. Most of the electricity and natural gas is associated with buildings. So cars and trucks and buildings are the two areas where we see the most emissions from greenhouse gases.
Okay, and let's move on to water. The Equinox report said that we fell a little short this year. How come?
Yeah, unfortunately, the news on the waterfront was not so good because our beach closures and advisories did go up between 2010 and 2011. But despite that, 97% of San Diego beaches earned an A or a B grade from Heal the Bay. But that unfortunately only looks at dry days. So then when you look at wet weather, it would only be 76%. And in 2011, if you specifically looked at time period, that was when we experienced a major power outage in San Diego County. And you might recall there was a major sewer spill as a result of that power outage. So we think that, the data is linked to that, and there's opportunity for improvement. And again, also because of the budget cuts in recent years at government, we haven't had as solid data as we used to have. So that's something we're hoping that with volunteers in San Diego, we can better track that to make sure that our water quality is safe and clean, because it not only impacts the water that you're swimming and surfing in, but it's also, of course, why tourists, a major part of our economy, come to San Diego.
Part of the economy. What about renewable energy? What's going on here in San Diego area to find to sort of, I guess, provide some incentives, or at least get us thinking about that?
Well, there's been tremendous growth in solar energy, both by businesses and households. And again, relative to the prior year of our research, we saw a 46% increase in solar installations per 100 residents. So some fantastic progress, but there's still a far way to go. SDG&E also reached its target of hitting 20% renewable energies through geothermal, wind energy, a whole host of renewable energy sources.
So we're seeing some improvement, but
Yes.
certainly plenty of room to grow. Now, Scott, you're working with local cities to come up with these climate action plans. Tell us what those look like.
You're correct. So we are working with the City of San Diego currently on their climate action plan. There are other cities in the region. About half of the cities in the region either have plans or are in the process of developing plans. And these plans include measures to reduce greenhouse gases to specific targets, in some cases mandated by the state. And we are a pretty progressive region in this regard. All the cities have conducted greenhouse gas inventories. That's a project that was sponsored in part by the San Diego Foundation. One thing I should say about climate planning is there's been tremendous collaboration around the region. In fact, there's a website called San Diego Climate Collaborative, sdclimatecollaborative.org, where your viewers can find more information about what's happening with climate planning in the region.
And we'll definitely send people there also on kpbs.org. They can look at the whole equinox report and also, as you said, look at some of these plans for the cities. Thank you both so much for talking with us.
Thank you for having us.